Hello there, running ears. Welcome once again. I'm back. I took last week off. I was actually at Disney World. So, word on the street about the Run Disney events right there and then well, they were non existent. They really didn't talk a lot about it. I did, but that was about it. Anyways, with that said, I wanted to do a two-part series. So, today is going to be one video, and then you will get the next one really, really quick. I will be following up very quick. It's going to help you guys with the runs. So the first part is going to be determining. I see, and I'm going to take a step back. So I see a lot of people trying to ask, well, what should I be doing? I'm a beginner runner. Hey, I got this injury, blah blah blah, and stuff. So I kind of broke it down to what kind of runner am I? Where am I? And then the second part is going to be basically journaling your runs, and you'll see how it goes into it, and how to finish your runs. And so I am actually a certified running coach by the RRCA, Roadrunners Club of America. And I actually studied some exercise physiology classes. So without further ado, here we go. So what kind of runner are you? So to me, there are three kind of runners. There is beginner, there is intermediate, and there is advanced. Now, if you're advanced, I would say, and I hate to do this because I love the ratings and I love the watches, but this video is probably not for you. So let's go back. So there's a lot of people who are beginners. Now, whenever I talk to a beginner runner, I always say there's three different levels of a beginner runner. So are you a beginner runner who has never run before, never done anything, has been a couch potato, whatever you want to call it, but you've never actually even looked at a pair of running shoes or running shorts? If that's you, you're a beginner. If you haven't run for a few months, let's say 3, 4, 5 months, going up to 6 months and maybe even a little bit more than that, and you're getting back into it, when you do a few runs, you're still a little sore. Alrighty, you're what I call beginner intermediate. Let's say you haven't ran in over 3 months. Let's say you haven't run in over 3 years. And you decide to go out for a jog for 3, 4, 5 miles. And yes, people do this all the time. And a couple of days later, you're fine. You're perfect. That means you're a beginner advanced. Okay, so let's touch on each one of them. Beginner. How do I know that I'm a beginner? All right, if you go off and you run for a mile, you decide to do your base run, which is basically a base run is going to be what you're going to see. What level are you at? Okay, so base, and then of course you advance. So this is your base run. You go and you run for a mile, maybe 2. You do a walk jog, and so it's going to go into the second part. But what you're going to do is you're going to journal it, and again, that's previously coming attractions. So when you journal it, you're going to be putting in a couple of things. You're going to put your distance. You're going to put your time. You're going to put your pace. You're going to put how you feel. That to me is really, really important. So write how you feel. Was it, were you gasping for air throughout the whole thing? Did you barely make it? Was it something that, you made it, you were fine at the very end, but the next day you could barely move? There's something that I call functional soreness. Functional soreness means you run, you exercise, you can do any kind of exercise, but in this case it's running, and a couple of days later, you're still okay. So you're gonna be able to function. So that's functional soreness. So when you're a beginner, you're probably not going to have much functional soreness. You run for a mile or two, and a couple of days later, you're still pretty sore. That means you're going to be basically at base level. So that does not mean you cannot make the run. That just means it's going to be a little bit different path for you when you're training. All right. So the next one is beginner intermediate. So now we get into that little aspect of we run our 1, 2, 3 miles, whatever it is, and because we haven't done it in a while. And even if you haven't done it in a while, there's people that are just amazingly gifted. So all of a sudden, they go out and they do their 1, 2, 3 mile run. And a couple of days later, they're at the most, they're functionally sore. So what does that mean? Does that mean they're in that good a shape? It probably just means that they're pretty gifted. And so that's not a bad thing. So that's going to be a different level of running. So it's going to be a different trajectory when they go further off in their running. So now the third level is going to be beginner advanced. Now beginner advanced, and I have witnessed this, I kind of do this on myself at times, is when you haven't run for a while. Case in point, I hadn't run for over a month. I had an injury, I fell, I bruised my ribs. This past Sunday, which was actually yesterday, I ran 4 miles as if nothing. I actually feel fine right now. I don't even have any kind of soreness. Not even functional soreness. I'm just not sore at all. But I consider myself a little bit more advanced because I've been doing it for so long. So when you have somebody like me, then you could basically almost get right back into it. But then again, there's that beginner runner who hasn't done it in a long period of time, and they don't get even the functional soreness. That they're at a different level, so they're going to be able to advance further quicker. Now, the big question is going to be, can you ever go back, go back any phases? And the answer is yes. You could be running for 3 months and not have any soreness at all. Then all of a sudden you have some functional soreness because you tweak that run, whatever it was, whether it be speed work, whether it be distance, but all of a sudden, you're sore for whatever reason. So yes, you can go back a level. Could it be to the point where you can't walk? You're that sore. And there's a difference between soreness and injury. So always be careful. There is a difference between being very sore and being injured, okay? So if you're injured, you're going to have to take time off. If you're sore, there is ways around it, and but that's really going to be up to you. So a couple of things I want to touch on before we get to the next video. So you're going to have to determine which runner are you. Are you a beginner? Are you a beginner intermediate? Or are you beginner advanced? And so that's why I wanted to do these a little bit separate, so that way you can watch this video, take a couple of days to determine where you're at. If you have any questions, please feel free to comment down below. Send me a message. I'll try to get to it as quickly as I can to help you guys out, because we're all in it together. When we do a Disney run, we're all in it together. When we do any kind of run, we're doing it together, but a Disney run is even more fun. So that's that. So with that said, let's look out for video number 2. Video number 2 will be coming out, and what we're going to do is we're going to go into journaling your runs. And so that's why I said, and I kind of touched on it a little bit, but we're going to really go into it. Journaling your runs, and how do I get there? That's an interesting concept, and I have a couple of ideas that may be able to help you in the long run. So please tune in for the second video, which should be coming soon. With that, I want to thank you guys for tuning in. The channel seems to be growing. When I was at Disney World, a couple people actually came up to me and said hi. I actually talked to Jenna from Resort TV 1, trying to convince her to do a Run Disney event, I should say. And for you beginners, the 5K should be perfect because it's not timed, so you're not going to be swept up. So with that said, I'm going to say adieu for now. But create a great run, and see you sooner than later.